Karen going to present it, Robert? The 2014 citizen motions. Karen, are you going to present that? There is a document that was handed out to you. It is called Peoples Assembly 2015 Update to the November 2014 Citizen Motions. So you have got a handout that's been provided to you, and call on Karen Hogan to provide the report.
Hello.
Janine Thompson, you're needed over in the children's room. And there's a whole bunch of kids who haven't re-registered for this afternoon. They're going on outings and they need parents' initials. So again, if you have kids next door and they're going on the outing, they need your initials to re-sign back in. And Janine Thompson is needed over there as well. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to go through with last year's November 2014 citizen motions that were brought to the floor. So one of the citizen motions, and you'll see this in your book, was support and accommodations for Hawaiian First Nation students that was brought to the People's Assembly 2014 by Murray Newfield. This was referred to the Community Services Department to make recommendations and move forward, and it was to increase the support. The support has been increased. School District 70 has increased the living allowance to $700 per child. So the increase was done. The other three motions brought forward were brought forward by Richard Nookmis, and one was the 60th birthday gifts to citizens, and this was brought to the Executive Council and it was voted no for last year or for this year's budget, and it's being brought forward again today as I understand it, so I won't go through that one. The other second motion that Richard brought forward was funeral expenses, and Executive Council agreed, and the budget was increased for this fiscal from $10,000 to $15,000, so the funeral expense budget was increased. There's also a funeral policy now, so it's all there. And then the other motion was pumping and maintenance of residential septic tanks. This issue has gone forward, and there is a budget set aside for the pumping and maintenance of Anakla residents' septic tanks. So the plan is to continue that, and it'll be going forward with the new Capital Infrastructure Committee and Finance Committee. So those were the only 4 motions from last year.
Thank you very much, Karen, for providing that report. I think we're starting to get a feel for the cycles that we go through in making recommendations to Executive Council and what happens with them. It is dependent, what is recommended to Council will be dependent on financial resources that are available, and as you saw, 4 motions came forward. The Council was able to act on 3 of those recommendations that came from the floor. One of them they were not able to act on, and you'll see that that's come up again at this Assembly. So is there any questions on those last year's motions? No, seeing none. Thank you very much for your attention. Thanks again, Karen. So the next item on our agenda is the citizens' motions for this year. You'll recall in accepting our agenda, we have 3 citizen motions that we are looking to discuss. The first is the vacant 4-plex. The second, the Soaring Eagle and use of that facility, and the elders' benefits increase. So the first item that's on the, Melinda? Oh, we need a waiver. Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, the famous waiver. Okay, Melinda, just to facilitate time, and because I don't have them in front of me, can I ask you to deal with the waiver issues? So
these motions were put forward after the public notice period for getting the agenda out, which means that they don't have written reports to go with them. My understanding is that either the executive director or members of executive council are prepared to provide verbal reports on each of the motions today. But for the motions to be considered by the People's Assembly, you need to pass a motion that you waive the requirement that a report of executive council in respect of citizens' motions be in writing.
We don't have written reports on any of the citizen motions that are coming forward. They have, however, been, with your agreement, put on the agenda. Council has agreed to respond to those verbally, and we do have written motions that have been prepared in response to the citizen requests. So we're looking for a motion to, once again, the wording on the therefore be it resolved. Yeah.
The People's Assembly hereby waives the requirement that a report of executive council in respect of citizens' motions be in writing.
Is someone prepared to make that motion? Roger, and seconded by Jackson. I didn't see Roger, but I'll take your word on it. Where are you, Roger? Oh, well, how am I supposed to see you back there? Good thing you got buddies in the room. Okay, that was seconded by Jackson. Dennis, thank you very much. Any objections, any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, I declare it to be passed by your consensus. We'll move on to the first item under citizen motions. Is Judy Johnson in the room? Okay. Judy, there is a motion that's being put on the floor with regard to a fourplex. Can you tell me where you are? Oh, okay. Thanks, Judy. Okay, Judy, would you like me to read the motion and then you can speak to it? Okay, so the motion that Judy is putting on the floor is in relation to the fourplex. The motion is, and I think Melinda's got it up on the screen here, whereas the fourplex in Anakla is owned by Hawaiian First Nations, has been vacant for some time, and there is a need for housing in the community, and the apartments in the fourplex could be used to generate revenue for the nation. Be it resolved that the People's Assembly hereby recommends that Executive Council direct that the apartments in the fourplex be rented out to Hawaiian citizens. Judy Johnson, are you prepared to make that motion?
Yes, I am.
Is there a seconder for that motion? Harry Brasseau. Okay, thank you. And Judy, to speak on the motion?
Well, like I live down there in Anakla, and the fourplex has been vacant for some time, and there are people that do need places to live other than moving into somebody else's home and overcrowding their home. You know, they're growing families, you know, they need their own space. And being a young couple or whoever it may be that is looking for a place should be able to apply for this apartment.
Before I look for anything from the floor, response from Council. Chief Councillor Robert Dennis.
Thanks, Judy. And you know, you are correct that they are vacant, and the potential for using them for rent is very significantly favorable. I think the one thing we got to answer though is Stan, in regard to the fuel tanks being beside a residential complex. Does that become an issue that we have to deal with if we were to convert it to residential?
Far as I don't think there needs to be anything done related to, because there's part of that building that we use as an office for when you come and get gas. The fuel tanks are double-walled fuel tanks, and you're far enough away for the other part of that building. So it'd be the same. We'd have to put some more signage up and rules around smoking locations and that, but I believe it should be able to be rented out. So
I think with that then, Judy, it's something that we would seriously consider then. We'll take that under advisement, and Karen, if you can put that on one of our agendas moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion on that motion? The motion is that Executive Council be direct that the apartments in the fourplex be rented out to Hawaiian citizens. Jack Cook? Sorry, where's our other microphone? Is it at your table, Melinda?
Thank you. I think I heard Stan's response, but just for safety's sake, might I suggest that you check with the fire department to make sure that it is okay, and if there is a need to make any corrections, that be done. You know, I'm not saying that Stan's lying or anything else. I just want to make sure that it's something that's, you know, let's be safe rather than sorry. So double check with the fire department. Thank you.
Jack, any other discussion, comments? Harry Bresso? You'll be next, George. I've got Harry Bresso, and then we'll go to you. Okay? And we'll give you a mic.
Okay.
Take about 5 seconds to catch up, so.
I just think with being housing being such a huge social issue, I think that should also something that be put a time frame on, so we're not waiting till the end of the fiscal year to get this report done to see if it can be done, like a 6-month time frame or 3 months in order to we get in 60 days. 60 days works this way because there's a whole bunch of people. I'm not from the area, but it's something that could benefit all of us.
Do you want that as an amendment to the motion, Harry, that a decision be made in this regard within 60 days, or are you satisfied with the comment?
I'm satisfied with the comment unless anybody else wants it added.
Okay. Our laws do require that citizen motions go to the next Executive Council meeting, so they would at least have to consider it then. You've been given a commitment for a response within 60 days. So, okay. George?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that there was people living in there 3 years ago, and I don't see why they were worried about the fire before that, because Johnson Ginger was living in there at the same time they were pumping gas and fuel. That's all I wanted to say. But yes, there is a big lineup for people that need a place to live, and I think you guys should look at some duplexes or 2-bedroom homes or 3-bedroom homes for new families that want to move down, or even if one of the executives or the chiefs or the councils want to move back, there should be some places available. And we don't have a fire department, we have a fire truck. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the comments, George. Any further comments, discussion on that motion? Robert?
Just to George's comment, I really appreciate that, because certainly one of the mandates being given to Connie Waddell, who is the counselor with the finance and infrastructure portfolio, one of her mandates is to look into housing and put something into place within the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Karen? Oh, I'm sorry, Jackson?
Is it on? Okay.
Yes.
I was wondering about the old band office down there. Can that not be renovated for family use, renting? I know it had a leak of roof at one time, but it's fixable.
Okay, just a point of order. We are talking about the fourplexes, but I will allow, if somebody has an answer to that question, I would ask, is there somebody who can answer that?
What we'll commit to, Jackson, is looking into that. I do know that there are some reports of that building being in serious disarray. I think very significant that it's not even worth doing any renovations or any work to it. But we'll double check on that and get on it. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So I'll just ask that the record reflect that there was a commitment to look into the issue of the former band office as well. So on the motion is with respect to the fourplex and directing council to make them available to rent for citizens. Seeing no other discussion, and I haven't heard any dissenting opinions, I declare that motion to be carried by your consensus. Thank you very much. We're doing well. Okay, the second citizen motion that we've got is with regard to this soaring eagle. So the motion is on this, I think it's on the screen or will be on the screen before you. This is another motion that was proposed by Judy. Are you still in the same vicinity? Judy? Oh, there she is. Okay. So Judy, same thing. Can I read your motion? Okay. So we have a proposed motion from citizen Judy Johnson regarding the soaring eagle. Whereas A, the soaring eagle is vacant. B, Hawaiian children living in Anakla are often lacking for activities after school and on weekends, especially in bad weather and when the Powhats isn't open. And C, many Hawaiian citizens living in Anakla do not have computer access in the community. Be it resolved that the Peoples Assembly hereby recommends that Executive Council direct that the Soaring Eagle be made available as an activity center for our youth and as a place to provide computer access to citizens. Judy, you prepared to make that motion? So moved by Judy. Okay, a seconder? Bruce? Thanks. Okay, speaking to the motion, Judy, do you have a microphone?
Yes, the reason why I brought this up is I've even put my name out as a volunteer to sit in there when the computers were up and running, and I was told that no, that it wasn't feasible, I guess you may as well say. And it's like there are a few people that do not have computers, and we used to use that place to go and do resumes, look for work, you know, try to get ourselves educated with computers and stuff like that. And like with the Powhats, sometimes it's not open, and there are places for, you know, that would be a place for our children to go. And, you know, we have a youth worker, Corey Howard. You know, he could be there as well. And, you know, our children, we always said from when I was going to school that we have to let our children learn. They need to go to school. And I feel that it should be utilized.
Hello. Woo! Thank you, Judy, for a very excellent suggestion. And as the Executive Council, we don't have any problem implementing the motion if it's passed. And if it's passed, we will give immediate direction to the Executive Director to follow up on it and get it open for the citizens in Anakla. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions on the motion? I've heard no dissent to the motion, no comments. Therefore, declare that motion to be passed by your consensus. I'll commit to looking through my recycle cupboard and see if I can provide a dinosaur laptop. I think I've got a stack of them. Okay. Others can do the same. I'm sure I'm not the only one that's got excess laptops. Harry?
Just an idea to call old universities, colleges, schools to see if they have old computers they can donate. A lot of them, they just send them off to scrap companies to be destroyed. And if they could be recycled to help somebody out, that's worth looking into.
Questions? Okay, thank you very much. Moving on, the next citizen motion on the agenda is regarding the elders' benefit. Richard Nookmus is putting this motion forward. Is he in the room? Oh, there you go. Sorry, Richard. Cowboy. I was told to say that. I was told to, oh, Elvis, sorry. Richard, can I do the same to you as I did with Judy? Is to read your motion out? Okay. So the motion that's being proposed, whereas Hawaiian citizens each receive a benefit payment of $150 a month from the Hawaiian Nation following their 60th birthday, B, despite inflation, the amount of this payment has remained the same for many years. Be it resolved that the People's Assembly hereby recommends that Executive Council consider increasing the amount of elders' benefits to $200 per month in the 2016-17 budget. Richard, you're prepared to make that motion? Moved by Richard Nookmis. Is there a seconder? Simon Dennis.
That's good.
I hear you. Okay, Richard, would you like to speak to the motion? Can somebody have you got a mic?
Am I on? Oh, yeah. Okay, that'll be great if you guys understand. When I got a letter from Karen here, they said they're going to put it in the next budget year following to 16 and 17, which is good. We'll be all happy if it goes through because I never got no answer last year. So my name is Howard Spasm. My grandfather and my grandmother gave me and my parents probably 1800, I guess. Seems like a long time ago, which is probably 60 years ago, I would say. Cleco?
Rob's pen flew as soon as he said that. What's the name?
Where's PSM? What?
Okay, got it. Deborah Cook, microphone for Deborah in the back there.
Hello, my name is Deborah Cook. I have memories of some coming to the elders when we were at the Nananexu meeting, and it had been at the time an honoraria, so it never really affected the income tax that we as elders have to face. I'm kind of curious as to how much it's going to affect those that are going to be 65 collecting their old age pension.
Is anyone able to answer that? Karen, if you're not able, or if we can give an answer, or I would take that as direction that that's something that should be considered and reported on.
We could look into that for you, Deborah, but yes, I believe so. When I was talking to finance, it will have an impact. It is going up. The other change this year is the Hawaiian government is required to pay WCB on all elders' benefits now.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Is there any other comments, questions on the motion? Oh, Melanie, I'm sorry. I'm going to give up this mic.
My comment on increasing the elders benefit per month, just speaking on the increase with with our economy and with our market. In order for some people who are elderly that are already on a low income, and then they're trying to eat healthy and they can't because they're on such a strict low budget. And when you go to the grocery store and you go to buy food that's good and healthy and like it just enriches your health, it's a huge expense when you're trying to save that extra money for whether it be to catch a bus to go to your doctor's appointment or to try and save money for emergencies. And the 150 helps, but there's also, when you look at the value of when you go and buy something from the grocery store, it's so expensive, especially when you're on a really tight fixed income. And just speaking on that, like, increasing it to the 200 is good. However, there are going to be costs to that. But at the same time, if you're already on a low income, I don't think it's going to really affect too much of the taxes. Do you know what I mean? Because there's a certain mark that you get to before it starts affecting your taxes dramatically, unless you're on a budget where you don't have to worry about that. That's just my thought. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Melanie. Those are great points, and we hear those being raised quite often. So, Karen, I'm sure taking notes, and that will be included in the analysis as well. Thank you very much for your input. Jeff.
Thank you. I've been having comments about not this particular issue, but issues like this.
Is this mic on? On the bottom, yeah.
I've been having heard comments about stuff like this, and and not this particular issue though, but other issues affecting the nation. I've had comments with Karen and Robert and various other people, and they've asked me for some of my input. What do we do? We heard Marty's presentation this afternoon. Our funding is going down, and our population is increasing in all aspects. We talked about the food box program. We talked about the food box program. We talked about other people or things we supply to citizens. Includes the monthly gift to the elders. There's going to be other issues that come up. We can increase the budget there, but at the same time, this council has to get it from somewhere else. So there's always the fine balance of what do we do. If that's a real desire, whatever you want, this council will have to struggle on how they're going to access some of that money. Where are they going to get it from? That's going to be their job if you want them to do that. And if they don't deliver, then what? I mean, we have to really think on what are some of the other issues that you're thinking about, like children's programs, POWITs. We've got POWITs now that people wanted. We've got daycare. We've got a host of other issues that this council is faced with. I talked to Robert, about the many issues that we have. We could probably talk about 100 issues, but at some point we have to say, what are your highest priorities? How do we deal with that? If this is a priority, let's make it a priority. If your kids are a priority, let's make it a priority. If education is a priority, let's talk about that. Is housing, it goes on and on and on. So this council has to make really tough decisions in the end. And not everybody's going to be happy. It's not that everybody's in this room is against all the really good recommendations that go forward. So I just want to leave the council with that. I know you have a tough job, and if you do have to do something, it's going to have to come from somewhere else because of our decline in revenues and our increased population. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Any other speakers? I see Melanie again, who has already spoken. Is there anybody else? Who are you pointing to? Norman. Okay, Norman, and then we'll come back to you, Melanie.
Hello. It's not like we're asking for $500 more. Richard's asking for only $50 more a month. to this current date, our treaty funds have coming up to $63 million. Our current date, that's what I received today. We're not asking for a bunch of money. We're elders. We're going to be going home pretty soon. Where I'd up the ante from Richards. I'd up to $250, $300. It's not much, Jeff. It's not much, man. You know, we're a small number. Last time I counted, it was only 60 elders. So I would help Richard and say make it 250, 300. Sure, let go.
Thank you very much, Norman. And I just want to clarify, I'm not hearing anything as yet as opposition. Jeff, can I just confirm with you, he's just making a point that it's a balance that we have to do, so I haven't heard any opposition to the motion. Melanie?
Just as another idea, if there's no immediate budget to disperse that money to all the elders, but looking into certain needs. I mean, what if there's somebody who's an elder who can't afford to go and buy their medication, or who has to look after their own grandchild because there's no other way out, and that grandchild also has needs to be met. I think that if we really look into it and there's no budget for that, then looking at that particular elders who are at a higher need, and maybe there's some other elders that aren't at a higher need, but looking into that as an evaluation opposed to just closing the door to bringing that budget up to an extra $50 a month for them, just to explore those, because a lot of elders are either on a medication that they can't afford, and they go down to the one that is decreasing their health. And our elders in our community right now at a low level, we have to hold them up to a higher level because we're learning from them, and they're not going to be here forever. So if we have to really pick and choose, that's where we get all of our traditions, that's where we get our culture, and that's going to be passed down to our kids. So I see it as a win-win if I have to look at it that way and choose. But health and medical care and stuff like that, there's so many things that go into that whole atmosphere with elderly care. Thank you.
This seems like a really small number to be putting on there, and I think it could be a really great opportunity to help our elders. But Deborah did bring up a great point, and I'm worried that if we do bring it up to 200 to help some, that it will negatively affect a couple others in their taxes, and will actually end up putting them lower because of this extra $50. So I would like to make sure that we're not actually harming any of the elders' finances by bringing it up to 200 before we pass that on. Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany.
Okay, first I want to thank Melanie for what she said, for speaking up for the elders. And I think this is a discussion we can have in the Nexo Society. When it comes to the taxes, I don't think it's going to affect most of the people. It did me because I was working, but it wasn't by much. But don't put us, like when I hear the word priority, we elders, like don't put us on the back burner. You know, you know, sometimes I just want to really speak up for the elders and fight for them. Because I work, but I just make it month to month. So the ones that aren't working, and their rent, their food, medication, I had to pay for my eyeglasses because I didn't quite meet my 2-year waiting or whatever it was. But I want to thank Melanie for what she said. It meant a lot to me. So we'll have a meeting. Thank you.
Simon Dennis and Jack Cook.
Who's going to read? I just want to say there's a lot of good things that have been said here about elders. Number one, I appreciate the amount that we've been getting. It has helped. The other thing is, my wife and I have been looking after our 8 grandchildren for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. 8 years, maybe even longer. And we're just making it. I'm out working yet. My wife is working, and we're making it. And I don't see any trouble with me paying tax, because I'm still paying taxes anyway while I'm working. But I really support the fact that us elders, number one, the older ones, my mom and those in that age bracket, are not going to be with us very much longer. I'm just a young elder. But you know what? I really remember the times when I was younger. And we started getting $150, and I really appreciate that. My wife once called it army check. She'd phone me and tell me, "Hon, your army check came in." And now her army check's coming in also. But you know, in reality, I really support the fact that, Cowboy, we do need that $50. We'll find a way. Our resources, I think we'll find a way. Now look at it, let's not worry. The government has gotten us to worry too much as it is. So I really look at this, and I am looking at possibly approaching our band regarding our grandchildren. Our children are our future leaders, and we have been looking after our grandchildren. My wife and I have been working, and we had to try to get to the ministry to get help from them. But guess what? We were cut off. They had a program called Elders or Children Living with Grandparents or something like that. They cut that off. So my wife and I are now paying for the education, the upbringing of our grandchildren. But you know what? I'm proud of them. One turned 19, the other one, 2 of them turned 18, 17, 16, 14, 13. And we're still going to school, bringing up grandchildren. So be aware of that. You know, we really appreciate the fact that we are getting money from the band. And my advice, don't worry. We'll find a way. True. Echo.
Hello. Just for information purposes, I guess, from the sources I've communicated with, the funds that are received by the elders are going to be taxable. And in 2018, all of Hawaiiat will be paying taxes. Just to remember that. True.
Hello. I was wondering who would be the first one to say that. I just wanted to say thank you to all those who are up there. Just to everybody who's helping with the band and stuff. I really appreciate it, looking after everybody, and I just really wanted to say thank you to everybody who's helping. True.
Well, Madam Speaker, I just want to say with respect to the income tax, it's all based on your whole income. So if you're making if you're retired and you had a good job and you paid a fair amount into CPP, then your income tax is really affected. But if you're just collecting the old age pension, then the tax isn't affected that much. I wouldn't believe, because we get peanuts for our old age pension, and the CPP is a supplement for that income, and so it's just your income tax is just rely or depends on how much income that you make in a year. So I don't know. I don't think a $50 increase is going to have that much effect on some of our elders, but it may affect some people like me.
I agree.
Okay, thank you very much, everyone. 6, and was there any specific questions of Karen? Once again, we welcome and encourage you to look over that report and to contact Karen or any kind of further questions. Okay, I'm not seeing any questions. Oh, one, Marjorie.
Hi, actually, my question is going to be to Robert. And I wanted to know if the report from Marty is finished. Is that a complete report that we're getting, or is he going to do more work on what he was assigned to do?
Just want to make sure and I checked with Karen. Yeah, it's a draft report, and we will be doing more work. One of the things that we want to do, and I believe that I answered Martha's question, that we will be doing community rounds and giving more information if needed. But it's a draft report that's ready so once we do our community rounds, we'll turn it into a final report, and from there we can factor it into any of our future planning. Okay?
Follow-up? So will the executive council be doing that, or is Marty going to do the final report once the community rounds have been
Executive council will be doing the community rounds.
Okay, I understand that, but I'm asking whether, when the final report is done and or when the community rounds are finished and more information has been gathered, will Marty be the one to do the final report?
We look at, yes.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Okay. I don't see any other hands. Is there any other questions? Seeing none, thank you very much. I'm looking forward, I've scanned the annual report, I'm looking forward to reading it. Oh, Molly, sorry. Somebody bring Molly a mic in the back there, please.
Thank you. I'm just wondering if we're still at quorum.
I've been told that our deputy law clerk has been watching numbers as we go through, and that she's going to flag us if we're in jeopardy of quorum. We're still good. I'm told we're still good. Okay. Okay, so we're being asked to do a bit of a fun vote to see where we're at. Has everybody got their clickers out?
Okay, who likes upsweep? We have a question.
Okay, get your clickers out. With our security people too, if you can make sure that people are coming into the room and sort of not loitering about out there.
Red for yes. Green for yes.
Okay, everybody return their clickers Do you like Alex Green? Sorry. Yes. Yes for green. Sorry. Oh, yes. Yes for green. Lock in your votes. Hey, Trevor Shear. This is going to be calling to business approach. She's selling somebody here. How are we doing for numbers over there, folks?
There enough laptop round?
I haven't had any yet. I haven't had one.
How are we looking for numbers? 75. Okay, we need some more people in the room. Jeff? Takes about 4 seconds to keep going.
Thank you. Before we continue on, I know the quorum requirements, but it's not really specified in our laws that there's a requirement that we have to be here. I think it's important that if we're going to have some serious discussion or a vote, then there's a requirement for that to have to facilitate everybody to try to require to have quorum here all day. It's going to be next to difficult. So I think that point I want to make it that it's not really a requirement in our laws that we have to be here. It would be nice, but we can't force people to stay. And I think for this, these are just I shouldn't say just reports, but these are reports. People can take them away and read them if they want, maybe later on tonight. We should. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. That's my inclination as speaker as well, that we are doing, we've spent a lot of time and effort to get here. As long as we're not in violation of our laws in continuing with information and looking for quorum when we're going to vote, do encourage everyone to stay in the room. But I also realize that I'm not calling for breaks because we need to continue to move. So, Melinda, are we good? Okay. Our legal counsel advises that we're good, and we appreciate that advice, and thank you to those in the room who are keeping an eye on things. I think they're starting to filter back in, so we realize that people need to go out and take a break every now and then. So, but please be aware, there still are items to be voted on the agenda, so if we're close to quorum, we are going to have to move on. So what was our answer? Yeah. You can just tell us, look at that. Maybe somebody doesn't know what that square is. Dried fish. Okay, thank you very much. With that, let's move on. We do have a couple more items on the agenda, and I think significantly the economic development proposal we need to get to. So the next item on the agenda is the 4-year strategic plan that Chief Councillor Robert Dennis referred to earlier. There is information that has been passed out. There's 2 pieces of information. There is a report on the community consultations, and there is a draft that shows all of the input that was received during those rounds of information. So without scooping the report that's going to be given by our Chief Councillor and Executive Director, I will turn the microphone over to them.
Thanks, you gave the report. I think the most important thing that I feel really comfortable about, and the Executive Council feels comfortable about, is that we did get a very extensive comment and input from the community, and that reflects in the report. We hired Trudy Warner and Angela Wesley to assist us facilitate gathering this information and facilitating meetings, so it was a really good process. We got to meet with the Hutley Council, we got to meet with all the committees, and we got to do community rounds, so that's the result of the inputs there. I think it's good to show you that there is a lot of input from the community, and it only demonstrates that the community does have a lot of input that they would like to provide. And then what we will be doing, the next step is that after we're finished from here, the report will go into Executive Council for their approval in accordance with the Governance Act. And then once that's achieved and the Executive Council gives approval, we will be meeting as the Executive Council and the lead senior managers to develop the action plan so that we meet the objectives of the strategic plan. And so really quickly, in a nutshell, that's what we will be doing. And I'd like to close to thank all of you that provided input. It's been very helpful. It will be very useful for us. Thank you.
Okay, I'll just call on Karen Hogan if you wanted to give any further, did you want to give any further details, or are you? Okay, you did a great job. Okay, so there is materials in your kits. I'm going to look around and see if there's any information. This is another information item. It is going to come back to you in some format. You're going to be seeing the final report that Council will do on the 4-year action plan based on your input. I see no questions, so let's move on our agenda. Stan Coleman, HDC report. I believe that he's got a PowerPoint deck. There are presentations. Stan, have they been circulated? Oh, okay. So as Stan is getting ready, we're going to be passing those out. They were available on the table. HDC had a table out there, and I can't waste that much more time, Stan. You know, if I get going, I can't stop. So it's a fine line. Just wherever you're most comfortable. Probably more comfortable over there, Stan.